Charlie, how you doing? Good. What? So what? Oh. I'm going back up. Show this guy. Yeah. He don't shoot those. Anything on four legs, Charlie. We don't talk.
It is Veterans Day. To every veteran that's here today, this is your day. This is your day to be recognized. This is the day to remember the sacrifices that you made. Whether you served in combat or wherever you served, it doesn't matter. You made sacrifices. You were away from your families. You were away from holidays. Good times and tragedies in family when you couldn't be here. But you served our country and honorably and proudly. To all veterans that are here today, let me say Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service to our country and welcome home. We are now going to have the raising the flag on the Common. Joe Limoncello, Commander United Veterans, Commander Legion, Post 101. Larry Giuseppe will be representing Post 543. Charlie Commander of the DAV, will have a raising the flag accompanied by the Police Honor Guard.
Attention, colors, post. Present arms. Honor guard. Order. Arms.
And this is the time of the program we can all take part, and I'm going to invite all of you to join me reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I would encourage all veterans to render the traditional military hand salute during the Pledge of Allegiance. Colors, right shoulder arms. Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Colors, parade rest. This time I invite Deacon Phil Hardcow, veteran United States Air Force, to lead us in an opening prayer. Deacon Phil.
I'd like to share with you today the poem Robert Frost wrote a long time ago, Road Not Taken. But I thought I'd share a couple of experiences of myself many years ago. At 18 years old, I was in a World War II barracks at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas in 1963. It was November. I remember laying in my rack the second night. Is it going to be like this for 4 years? Well, luckily it wasn't. But today, as we honor all veterans, especially those who've gone before us, those serving today, veterans here today, I'd like to share this poem. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair and having perhaps a better claim, because it was grassy and one where. Though as for that, the passing there, it was then really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how wave leads on to wave, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Thank you, Deacon Phil. You see these two fine young men beside me, both Woburn residents, both proud veterans of the United States Marine Corps. Robert Concannon just completed basic training. Charles O'Connor just completed 5 years in the United States Marine Corps. Let's welcome them home and thank them for participating in our program today. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for your service. This is a part of the program that all our veterans can be recognized. And I want you to look around what's going to happen. Joanne Campbell is going to sing the Armed Forces medleys. And I'm going to ask every veteran, when you hear your medley, to go to present arms so everyone can see what branch you're in and that you're a veteran. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to have Joanne Campbell come to sing the Armed Forces medley. Joanne?
The Army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong.
veterans. Thank you so much. I just was made aware recently, in 2018, a program started in Washington, D.C. It's part of the Bells of Peace program. But at 10:45 a.m. this morning in Washington, D.C., at the World War I Memorial, a Navy bell was rung 21 times to honor those that served and gave their lives in World War I. And as I've mentioned today, it used to be Armistice Day, it's Veterans Day. But around the world, it's a world holiday. It's Remembrance Day, it's the Memorial Day. And most of the United Kingdom and France, in Canada, in Australia, and Barbados, and a lot of the old United Kingdom colony, parts of India, and they remember World War I, and that's their Memorial Day today. Veterans, I want to let you know one thing. If you have never done it before, if you ever go to a national park, the National Park Services offers free lifetime passes to any of the national parks. I believe you can go into by the Constitution, Charlestown. You can go up the Route 2A up there in Lincoln, up in the park up there, and you can apply. Just take your DD 214, and you can get a free pass to a national park. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to invite the mayor of our city, Mayor Scott Galvin, to share a few words to you on Veterans Day. Mayor Galvin.
Thanks, George. It's great to be here today. It's really great to see such a nice crowd, a big crowd, and to recognize our veterans and everybody served. Woburn is really, when it comes to recognizing our veterans, supporting our veterans, it's top notch. It's a great city, and we appreciate everything our veterans did for us and continue to do for us, and those people are serving now. As George said, the veterans have made such a great sacrifice for us. They've left this country to go overseas, or what they've done. They've left their families, they've left their city, and left comfortable environments to serve us and to give us all the rights that we have today, the rights that they fought for, that we can use today for freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, all those rights that we have and we're able to have. It's because of the veterans who served for us. So all the veterans here today, I want to thank you for what you've done for us. I also want to thank those who are serving now. And I do want to recognize George Poole and Bob Davis, who behind the scenes put these great events together for us. Not easy to do, but they do it all the time. So let's give Bob. It's a great city. We recognize our veterans. I do want to recognize one of my good friends, Jim Dwyer. Jim's standing up the back. He's our former state rep. And as I said, we always support our veterans. And Jim did so much for the veterans. Continue to do it. Never shy either, Jim. So I want to thank everybody today. And again, thank you for all the residents who came out today to recognize our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Galvin. We just had an activity with the United Veterans Council. We received a request to name a new square here in Woburn for Mr. Robinson, who was killed he was born in Woburn. He was killed in action in France. He had gone to shore in Normandy, and later in the battle, he gave his life for our country. And we received a request for the family. And to name a new square in Woburn. The United Veterans Council approved it, and we talked to the mayor with his gracious, his thoughts and about it. Thought it was a great idea, and the city council as well. Well, the new square was voted in. It's going to be at the corner of Water Street and Robinson Way down by Horn Pond. And I want to thank the mayor and the city council for pushing that right along and getting it approved. Thank you so much. The official dedication will probably take place sometime in the spring. Now it gives me great pleasure to invite State Senator Cindy Friedman to share a few words on Veterans Day. Cindy?
Thank you, George. I just want to say that I have to totally agree with Mayor Galvin that Woburn really knows how to honor its veterans, and it's a real pleasure and an honor to be part of this. But you guys rock when it comes to this kind of thing, and so you should all be incredibly proud and give yourselves a hand. The official theme for this year is Veterans Day is honor. And the legislature has taken great in all different facets of life. We increased the oversight of the Soldiers' Home. We restructured the chain of command to ensure that these facilities deliver the quality of care that our veterans deserve. We also designated funding to construct a new Soldiers' Home in Holyoke. The SPEED Act signed into law in August will make the lives of military families who relocate to Massachusetts much smoother by expediting their licensing process and providing tax credits for businesses that employ National Guard members. Last year I spoke about the importance of improving mental health care for veterans in our state, and I'm proud to tell you that the mental health law that we passed just months ago does that. It promotes mental health care for veterans specifically. It studies veteran-specific needs for access to screening, barriers to mental health care, assessing current programs, and recommends improvements to help veterans. It creates a new and continuing program at UMass Medical focused on providing learning about military service-related behavioral health conditions. Please know that the legislature's work to helping veterans does not stop with these laws. We will continue to ensure that we live up to our responsibility to honor your service and sacrifice and address the challenges that veterans face. Thank you all for having me here to recognize all of Woodburn's veterans on this incredibly important day. Thank you so much.
Thank you for those great words. And now we're going to have State Representative Richard Haggerty to share a few words on Veterans Day. Richard?
Thank you, George, and thank you, Mayor Galvin. Thanks, Bob Davis, and everyone else for putting on today. Thank you, everyone, for showing up on this beautiful day. On Veterans Day, we gather, honor, and salute those who have served our country, and we remember the bravery of those individuals who did not make it back home. Days like today serve as a reminder of the cost of freedom. And it's important to remember that veterans continue to defend us 365 days a year. I want to begin by recognizing, of course, all those among us who have been a part of the U.S. military, our veterans, active duty service members, guardsmen, and reservists. Your service, your sacrifice have kept our country safe, free, and proud. Every year on this day, our residents come out to recognize and support those among us who served. We take great pride in the fact that our community has sent members to fight every major American war, often with distinction. Yet the heroism demonstrated time and time again by our veterans, from the American Revolution to the War on Terror, is sometimes unnoticed on a daily basis. That's why we come today. That's why today is so special. Each year, I like to remind us all of the service and sacrifice of a local hero. My family and I enjoy walking Horn Pond each day. And every time we walk past Foley Beach, we try to pause and take a minute to think about the important sacrifice that was made by Edward C. Foley. Edward C. Foley served the Company F, 101st Massachusetts Regiment, killed on July 18, 1918 during World War I. He was raised in the South End at 23 Lake Ave, not far from where the beach named in his honor was located. Foley would be killed just north of Chateau Thierry in France, and initially buried not far from where he passed away. Later, he would be moved to Calvary Cemetery. So next time you walk in the pond with your family and friends, stop for a moment and pause to remember Edward Foley. Remember what we ask of our veterans, and remember all those who have served our nation honorably. I'm pleased that Cindy was able to mention some of the important pieces of legislation we've been able to pass over the course of the last few years, and we will continue to advocate for our veterans to make lives a little bit easier. As said by President Harry Truman in an address to the Armed Forces in 1945, our debt to the heroic men and valiant women in service to our country can never be repaid. They have earned our undying gratitude. Thank you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Richard. And now Michelle Chicolo, State Representative. You represent what, Ward 7? She represents Ward 7, 1 and 7 here in the Woburn. Have her share a few words on Veterans Day.
Good morning. It's so wonderful to see so many people here today to celebrate and honor our veterans. In August 2021, America withdrew the rest of its troops from Afghanistan and formally ended its engagement in that 20-year war, which tragically killed 2,456 American servicemen and women. While most of the country and its citizens march along with life as normal, we have 20,752 U.S. military personnel who were wounded in that conflict and may be living among us with ongoing medical issues. Given their sacrifices, we must never lose sight of of the need to provide care and robust services for the veterans among us who may need physical and emotional support. Just 6 months after we departed from Afghanistan, Russia invaded Ukraine, and in response to Russia's aggression, the U.S. swiftly deployed an additional 20,000 troops to Europe, bringing the total U.S. personnel in that region to over 100,000 people. This, while the rest of us go on living our lives, enjoying a supposedly peacetime mentality. We have approximately 1.4 million active duty military personnel in the U.S. and another 800,000 serving in the reserves. Most Americans don't know that we have 750 military bases worldwide, and our military deploys to more than 80 countries around the globe. Our troops, our men and women in uniform, are operating all over the world to keep us safe. Yet we seldom take a moment to consider how blessed we are that we live in a democratic nation, enjoying the exercise of our individual liberties because of their acts of selflessness and bravery. On Veterans Day, we pause to consider how fortunate we are that we have military personnel willing to make such significant sacrifices to protect our country. We must also remember that alongside every active duty military member are the family and loved ones of that individual. They too make untold sacrifices and endure often long separations which allow their loved ones to serve us. It is of vital importance that we not treat Veterans Day as a once-a-year thing, and that we instead take steps to ensure our veterans receive the support and services that they have earned and so justly deserve. In closing, I want to leave you with one final thought. Our veterans should be honored as our most distinguished citizens. The example of selflessness they display every day is in stark contrast to the partisan, angry, vitriolic, antagonistic world we see portrayed in the news and on social media today. The clamoring and chaos at times is so bad that it sometimes appears that our democracy is coming apart. We must push back on this notion and all the ugliness and realize that the noise and cacophony is perpetrated by a minority of dissatisfied citizens. And we must promote our veterans and people like them who routinely give selflessly to their communities and to one another in recognition of all that is good in our country. By spending more time honoring our veterans and honoring the good in one another, we can help our country move to a better place. To all our veterans and their families, I salute you and may you have a blessed year.
Thank you, Michelle. Those great words. Michelle mentioned how we have forces in all over the world. You may not know, we have a lot of troops right now in Poland, believe it or not. You know, when I was in the service, Poland was on the other side, but it's not anymore. And they're very close to Ukraine. Let's hope they do not get involved in that conflict over there. Are there any World War II veterans here today? Any at all? Okay. If there were, I just want to recognize it. That's a sad thing, you know. The youngest World War II veteran today is about 94, 95 years old. That's the extreme youngest. We're now going to have a reading of the Governor's Proclamation from a member of the Woburn Memorial High School Marching Band, Charlotte Gorchak. Well, she's going to come up and read the Governor's Proclamation. Charlotte?
Whereas, since the Commonwealth's colonial days, thousands of men and women have served our country in defense of freedom and liberty. And whereas, on November 11th, 1918, the armistice was signed in the forest of Compiègne by the Allied nations and Germany, ending World War I, the war to end all wars, after 4 years of conflict. And whereas, since that day, every November, ASAC people from around the nation have gathered to honor our veterans, and whereas, there are approximately 300,000 veterans living in Massachusetts, and whereas, today, we are reminded of the great sacrifices and contributions our veterans have made to our country, and whereas we honor and salute those who served our country throughout the generations with honor, patriotism, and courage, and whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who served their country so that their dedication and sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom, and whereas in November 2022, the world will commemorate the 104th anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting in World War I at 11 a.m. November 11, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Now, therefore, I, Charles D. Baker, the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2022 to be Veterans Day, and urge all citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston, this 11th day of November in the year 2022, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 246th, signed by His Excellency Charles D. Baker.
I know a lot of you probably were at the Halloween parade put on by the Lions, and the high school band was not in the parade. They were competing that day, and they did very well. They came in second in the statewide competition, so let's give them a great hand. And now this time they're going to honor us with a music selection. Last Memorial Day, I invited the veterans agent in the city of Woburn to come up to speak, and he was very, very nervous. It was his first event, so now he's got one under his belt, and now Veterans Day is going to be a lot easier for him. It gives me great pleasure to invite Bob Davis, the Veterans Services of the city of Woburn, to come up to share his words on Veterans Day.
Thank you, George. Thank you. 2 words, 8 letters. We say it all the time. Sometimes we don't even think about it when we say it. I like your shoes. Thank you. How you doing? Doing well. Thank you. Can I get that door for you? Thank you. Within seconds, we moved away from that moment, and we've forgotten what we've said, to whom we said it. So where's the power? Where's the emotion? Thank you. When your 2 words, 8 letters, earn their stripes, words of gratitude, words of appreciation, words of thankfulness. The power in that emotion is on display today here and throughout our great nation. It's believed we lost our last World War I American veteran in 2011. May they all rest in peace and know that they left behind a grateful nation. May they all know the sounds of those 2 words, feel the passion of the voices who speak them. Today, as we gather, it's ironic, George mentions the World War II veterans here today. As we gather, we know at the end of World War II, there were 16 million veterans, of which it's estimated that 167,284, the greatest generation, I want to say those 2 very powerful words too. Hastily, I may add, as we lose an estimated 180 of those veterans a day. It's 1 every 3 hours. So to those few who wrote a blank check to our thankful nation, up to and including your life, whether it be the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Coast Guard, Space Force, whether your service be peacetime or during our country's conflicts. Thankfully, by the grace of God, along with your brothers and sisters in arms, you're here today to hear this. To each of you, I say these 8 letters in 2 words. Thank you. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless the United States of America. George so kindly reminded me that yesterday, thank you everyone for turning out, yesterday, 247th birthday of our beloved Marine Corps. Thank you so much.
We heard a lot of noise at the start of the parade today. A little different. We're very honored today. This is the first time we had the American Legion Riders from Post 101 and Woburn leading the parade today with the motorcycles. And it was a great way to get everybody's attention. Also representing the Woburn Elks, Dan Stalker, my good friend. He took the day off from work today. He goes, George, I want to be part of Veterans Day. You see his truck out there with all the flags of all the branches of the service, the different flags from the parts of different eras of our country. Also, Vietnam veteran, Army Sergeant Greg Cummings is with them. I know Brian Mulrennan is with them also. So thank you for being here representing veterans today. And also Michael Bernardi with the Jeep. And a little trouble getting it started, but he got it started in time of the parade, but he's here with us today, and he's always here to support us. I want you to look around. Everything is quiet right here. We have nice, peaceful protection here in the common. And thanks to the support and the protection received from both the Woburn Fire Department and the Woburn Police Department. I guess I spoke too soon, huh? They provide us protection and security not only today but throughout the year, and we want to thank them also. Also, the Parks Department, look at the common. It's in beautiful shape this time of year, and the support from the Department of Public Works today to helping us out with the sound system. And it's just a great effort by everybody. You know, it's not me, it's not Bobby, it's by everybody. There's a lot that goes on. And yesterday we had many of our veterans speak at schools, and so proud of the Woburn schools that they remember not only Memorial Day, but they do remember Veterans Day. I know there's communities around here, they do nothing in the schools, and that's very, very disturbing. I also want to mention that I know there are parents and there are grandparents here today that have children and grandchildren currently serving in the military. We want to say, myself personally, on behalf of the United Veterans Council, please say thank you to them for their service to our country and wish them a happy Veterans Day. And I know a lot of them are in foreign countries right now, and if you have a neighbor that's serving in the military, reach out to them in the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. Send them a card. Just say, hey, how you doing over there? I'm thinking of it. And that means a lot when you're away from home. But to the sacrifices that they're making, and the parents that are making, and grandparents, thank you so much. We're now going to have a reading of the honor roll of the deceased veterans of the city. John J. Bruce Sr., World War II. Harold E. Emerald, Vietnam. Alan J. Beauchamp, Vietnam. Warren L. Belden, Korean. Joseph J. Bellafato, peacetime. Frederick G. Beckley, Jr., World War II. Michael E. Benulo, Vietnam. George E. Bergen, Korean. Robert F. Burns, Korean. John P. Davidson, World War II, Korean and Vietnam. Joseph P. Day, Jr., Korean. Frank DiMarco, Korean. William D. DiPremio Sr., Vietnam. Donald W. Doyle, Korean. Harry C. Forson, Jr., Vietnam. Frank G. Fridella, Korean. Richard D. Garvey, Vietnam. Thomas A. Gleason, Korean. Bernard J. Hagen, Jr., World War II. Robert J. Hogan, Vietnam. Peter J. Marin, peacetime. Joseph C. Mastriani, Vietnam. Paul R. McDonough, Vietnam. Lawrence B. McLaughlin, Vietnam. James R. McSweeney Sr., Vietnam. Richard O'Keefe, Vietnam. Michael A. Monica, World War II. John J. Morandi Sr., World War II. Frank J. Newark, Korean. Daniel J. Noonan, Korean. John F. O'Brien, Korean. James E. Ribeiro, Vietnam. Stanley A. Sandgren, World War II. George J. Sharkey, Korean. Donald A. Smith, Korean. Albert L. St. George Jr., World War II. John Leo Stracuzzi, World War II. Arthur W. Vino, World War II. Robert A. Walsh, Vietnam. Walter T. Wellman, peacetime. And Richard A. Richie Boucher, United States Navy, Vietnam. And may they all rest in peace. Fellas, parade rescue. I invite Deacon Phil Hardcastle to come up for benediction.
God our Father, we ask you this Veterans Day to continue to hold close to your heart in the kingdom that is heaven all those who have dedicated their lives for freedom. From the founding of our great country until now, we also ask you to remember all veterans of the armed forces who have served and who continue to serve this day around the world. Bless them always and bless their families who anxiously await their return. We ask this, Father, of you. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon Phil Hardcastle. I got a note from Kathy Lucero, and she wanted me to mention to honor Woburn veterans tomorrow at the library in the program room from 2 to 3. Kathy Lucero will present a PowerPoint program on Woburn's Historical Society's Woburn Oral History Project, featuring interviews with several Woburn veterans. I'm going to make an appeal to everybody. I want you to let you know that the American Legion Post 101 and the VFW Post 543, we are in dire straits for new members. Look at the age of all of our older veterans. If we're going to continue these programs, we really need the younger veterans to set up and join these organizations. The American Legion, all you need is a DD 214. The VFW need a campaign ribbon. If you've been in the Middle East, or if you've served in Korea or currently serving over there, you would have a campaign ribbon, you would be eligible. And again, I appeal to you, if you have children or grandchildren, ask them really to think about joining our organizations, because our membership is getting down. The American Legion also has the auxiliary, which is mostly women, and they have the Sons of the American Legion. If your father, your grandfather was a veteran, you would be eligible to join those organizations also. So thank you for your support in that. And also tonight, speaking of Legion, the Blues for Veterans are going to have a show over there tomorrow night, and all are invited to attend. Mike, how much?
$10 to bands.
Mike Dever, who runs it, does a great job. It's $10 to get in. He said he's going to have 2 bands there. If you like the blues music, they have great bands, and it's a great night. Thank you, Mike. We're now going to have a fire in the volley from the George A. Campbell Post 101, followed by taps and the singing of the national anthem by Joanne Campbell, accompanied by the city band and the high school band. Riflemen, when ready, fire 3 volleys. left the services here today. And I first of all thank you all so much for coming out and remembering Veterans Day, that everybody that's here today. It means so much to all the veterans that are here. And it's just a great tribute here today to all those that served our country. And in closing, to every veteran that is here today, regardless of your branch of service, regardless of your military occupation, it doesn't matter. You served our country honorably and proudly. If you were overseas or stateside, it doesn't matter. Always hold your head up high and say, yes, I am a proud veteran of the United States Armed Forces. Thank you all for being here. God bless you, all of you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you so much.